TheRantCast. All right. Welcome to the Rantcast podcast. It's Tuesday night, and it's time for another Rantcast. I'm your host, Kurgan, and I'm glad you could join us here on twitch.tv/the Rantcast podcast. Our music, courtesy of Suno.com, lyrics by none other than my co host, The Strange Bus. And of course, we are streaming live. You can also catch us later on YouTube, the Rantcast Podcast Archive. And I've got my co-host here. I'll be bringing him on here in a second. Hey, Strange Bus, how's it going?
It's going. Oh, I hear. I should probably try what you're doing. My throat's destroyed, but here, let me go ahead. Gosh, did that make it?
well,
Oh,
well done.
I summoned all of the phlegm that I had in my throat
Yep,
and
it's
just
good thing we don't have video. Although maybe we get more ratings. I don't know.
uh, pulled out my inner Wolverine.
Yeah, the
Hope
brain.
everybody's doing great.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Um, just a quick heads up, I guess, before we officially start. Um, a little bit of a switcheroo because um my bad. It's not Twitch's fault that the muting was occurring. It was my fault.
Oh,
I switched my stream up in Streamlabs for my personal stream, and it seemed to have affected the Rantcast account for
okay.
some weird reason. So, um, it like boinked up all my settings. So until that gets fixed or my new PC gets put together, um, this is probably how we're doing things. Probably going to be hosting.
Well, I still put a little bit of blame on Twitch. I mean, to be fair, fair is fair. I was thinking like, why are they muting our entire episode with no warnings? Like that's really draconian, even for them. But the fact that we were trying to find a solution to be able to play music without getting immediately flagged, because it's so annoying that they do that. I mean, at the very
Mhm.
least, YouTube lets you. They have a feature where you can erase song. You upload your video and then it says copyright and you're like, copyright what? And you look at it and it's like, oh, this particular song. Although I've been seeing Alexander Nakarada shows up on there, Carl Casey shows up on there, and it's like, this does not affect your channel. This is not a strike. So it's like, so what are you saying? I can use this? Apparently, what they're saying is you can't monetize it with that stuff. Not that we monetize it. I mean, I don't know if you monetize your videos, but I don't monetize mine on YouTube.
No, I don't.
But
I
Twitch,
couldn't
Twitch is more strict.
at all.
They just mute. They just mute you. Now the good thing is
Well, and
I've been re- sorry, I've been recording the sound too. So it's like, okay, if they speaking of which, better do that now. All right, recording the rantcast. Yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
well, I was also going to say, in some cases, YouTube will block like viewage in some countries too.
Yeah, blocked in your country.
Just depending on like how they view the licenses. Um, I
Yep.
just think it needs to change. It probably won't go away anytime
Yeah.
soon because
Can't
big corporation likes to own everybody else's material.
can't view it in your country.
It's them money.
Which reminds me of our first
Mm.
sponsor. No, just kidding. Rant VPN, where you can
Oh boy.
promo code Hollywood sucks. Yeah, no. Uh, maybe someday. Yeah, so we know we've
Maybe.
arrived as streamers because we're complaining about the system. Like that's what every streamer vlogger does at a certain point. I'm just so glad that I didn't like quit my job and decide to like put my entire career into streaming and rely on it at their and be at their beck and call. But it is
Oh yeah.
annoying.
No,
Very
I
annoying.
completely agree. And I don't recommend that. Like I said, a lot of people want to pursue it, and I think what it is truly is kind of like a crowd control method too, because we don't live in a world where people just want to create anymore. They just want to make money.
Yep.
So um, the broadcast yourself times are kind of over, um, which is sad, but
Yeah. You just
it's
have
kind
to
of
be
a
you just have to
true
make it
reality.
Yeah, you just have to make it for you. Like if you're out there to like start a movement or yeah, get rich, forget it. It's like saying I'm gonna be the next Michael Jordan. It's like, well, good to have dreams, but let's face the
Yeah, you and
reality.
about I don't know millions of other people.
Yeah, there's only one.
Hey, Jacer, Rob, uh, good evening. We
Rickcast.
so yeah, like I was bringing up before, I'm recovering from a major like sinus infection. Um, like big surprise considering the fact that half the Rancast we've been under, I've been sick. I swear I don't get this sick this often. So, but it just happens
Oh, gotta fix the
uh,
chat.
every so often.
I keep forgetting when I
Um,
host. I gotta do this. Go, keep going.
but yeah, we got a pretty decent show. We got a couple of topics. We're gonna keep it really casual with like all the issues that have kind of been popping up with the stream, and so we'll be talking about like our kind of our standard topics. A lot of ethical stuff between companies have been kind of popping up, so we'll kind of be bringing that up like usual. Um, some new hardware news. That's kind of been my new takeaway lately because it's kind of a thing that's been flagging on most people's radar, especially mine, because it's a passion
Hmm.
of mine. Um, I'm not chained to it anymore. I say that because, like, right now, I feel like people, especially in the PC industry, are kind of chained to it. You know, I have over 500 games on Steam and other platforms alone. Um,
You,
and you can't really just say fuck this, I'm done.
yeah.
It's hard to give up PC, but
Don't you mean you
I
temporarily rented 500 games at the publisher's pleasure?
yeah, well, yeah, yep. Um, but I do have some physical copies too.
Hell
But
yeah,
yes,
bro.
the big thing is between Steam, Ubisoft Connect, the EA platform, Epic Games, all that stuff. There's a lot of games on that platform that we are rent, I guess, owning a license of until they decide we don't need it anymore. Um, that's a whole nother issue in itself.
Well,
But
I suppose
the point,
you can have your license back, but I want a refund.
yeah, the point is with NVIDIA kind of moving into different interests in its space and um, kind of the lack of competitive market. PC building has kind of gotten worse and worse over the course of, I don't know, the last 3 to 5 years. It's always had its ups and downs. There's always been issues. There's always been problems, especially in the graphics card industry. GPUs have gotten expensive. I remember when the 10 series had a price hike where we had GPUs that went up into like the thousands. So, but I will get to that topic here very soon. Kurgan, can you go start us off? My wife is giving me a call. I have to go get the kids.
Yeah, man. No worries. Duty calls. I'll just give you. Well, I don't have to mute you, do I? All right. Okay. Well, while he's doing that, my GPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer. Oh no, you're talking about GPUs. Yeah, got that video RAM. High risk plot point operations, hardware transforming lighting. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Gigaflops per second. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough. I used to know a lot of that stuff. I had a roommate in college who was like cutting edge. I mean, he did an internship for one of those big companies and he was constantly like just feeding knowledge into my brain. But it's been several years since we've even hung out, and so sadly, I've forgotten so much. I just know it lights up when I turn it on. Yeah. So yeah, it was funny. I was like, man, where's the news? Like I was looking, and every video on YouTube is how much the live action remake of Snow White sucks. It's like I don't even care about those Disney live action remakes, but yeah, apparently they spent a lot of money. They did a lot of reshoots, the lead actress said some stuff that pissed people off, and yeah, it's bombing hard. And apparently Gal Gadot can't act, or nobody knows how to get a good performance out of her. So that's too bad. I liked her as Wonder Woman. Oh well. Anyway, yeah. As far as other stuff, in the world of HeroQuest, not a lot going on. We're just kind of waiting. April, first week in April is going to be the next big games convention. So Bologna used to be Medina Play. It's Bologna Play. So that will possibly be a big deal. I think we're just kind of waiting around for stuff to happen. I mean, every week I think they're going to drop a big bomb on us, but we may just have to keep waiting, keep hoping. We got a new guy. New guy. Oh, how could I forget?
I'm back, Kurgan. Sorry.
Okay, okay. No, no, no. I can't. I thought we talked about this. Maybe we just did it privately. Okay. So there is a small bit of news and a positive bit of news in the world of HeroQuest. So the Avalon Hill Discord, which was the big deal when Incarmine was still with the company, they brought it in and they were like, they had a section for HeroScape, HeroQuest, Risk, Legacy, diplomacy. They had all this stuff, and they were on there like answering questions and giving us teasers, and then the layoffs happened. So that was at the end of 2023. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of went quiet because the two main guys that were interacting with the public were let go, fired. Avalon Bill and Encarmi. Okay. Well, just recently, was it like a week ago? They got a guy on Avalon Hill, and he's like, "I'm Michael with Avalon Hill, and I'm the new moderator." And he was like, "What?" They actually have somebody on there. I mean, I was surprised people didn't just go crazy and like destroy the place, but he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna clean up the
Avalon
bots."
chill.
Yeah, clean up the bots. We're gonna clean up the spam. Of course, immediately we were asking him all these questions, like, "Oh, when's this coming out? When's the next update?" And he's like, "Okay, I'm not actually in charge of that." Um, what was his official title? It was like global. I'm gonna see if I can find it here. Sorry, should have had it immediately. Oh, the first comment was, "Poor Michael, the new intern. He doesn't know what he's let himself in for. HeroQuest community is relentless." Yeah, you got that right. Okay, he says, I'm quoting Michael at Avalon Hill. Couple things I wanted to review with you all. My official title is Global Brand Manager. I work with the Avalon Hill development team to help bring our titles to market, specifically for our strategy games, including the Avalon Hill portfolio and Risk. I get to work alongside teams across the world to help bring our games to local game store shelves, as well as help internal insights into what makes our community and niche of the market so special and unique. Okay, so I want to pause there. So insights was a keyword that Doug Hopkins used a lot at Gen Con last year. So they're online, they're constantly watching to see what people are talking about, what customers are saying, so that they can take that to their meetings and help plan their next move. And of course, they have this 18-month development cycle, so it's slow for us to see the results, but it does happen. Okay, I'll just continue. He just wrote these two posts. So Michael says, also worth noting, the team is crushing our current development roadmap. And we're really excited for the next few years ahead of us. We hope you are too. Unfortunately, I'm not our community manager. And while I'm still hopeful we'll get one in the future, I'll be limited in what I can share or how frequently I can respond. So he kind of put the kibosh on a lot of our questions there. He
Oh,
says, let's see. So while I'm only able to pop in every now and then, but I want to see what we can do to get the Discord server a little more cleaned up, community focused, to be a bit faster with removing spam. You guys are the heart and soul of this epic brand, and I'm hoping to do what I can to help improve our community home. We're currently trying to transfer the server owner, as we cannot make new admins or take care of our other admin business with the current role structure. We've got tickets out to Discord support to help facilitate that transition. Should hopefully see some progress soon. I'm doing most of this in my spare time, so bear with me as I figure it out. In the meantime, I hope you all know that we're here and we're listening. We may not always be able to respond or engage as much as time would allow, but we're ever grateful for how welcoming, supportive, and encouraging this community is. End quote. Well, I hope he still feels that way in a few weeks. No, so far people have been nice to him, so it's been cool. At least it's cool that I mean it's not just complete anarchy. But again, people were pretty well behaved. I mean, there was a couple guys just spamming stuff, and people were, shut the hell up, mute that guy. But it's like, you couldn't stop him. It just keeps going. Uh, yeah. So let's see, Rob.
So,
Rob
is
had,
it good news that we've got this guy
yeah.
coming in then?
Well, yeah, because before it seemed as if they had just cut off that aspect of the community completely. Like they weren't going to tell us stuff ahead of time. They weren't going to engage with us. It was just going to be like, oh, and then we're at a game convention. Oh, and here's the new product. Like there's no interaction. Like before they would, give us teasers or they would ask us questions like, so would you like to see this? Or what do you think about this idea? Or people would be arguing about the rules and they'd say, well, if we were to do that, here's how we would do it. And people would be like, whoa, they just dropped
Right.
a teaser on us. And so that was really fun. But maybe we were thinking, okay, Hasbro doesn't want to pay somebody to do that.
Mm.
So they just cut it out. But this seems like they're maybe realizing there's a role for that. And even though he's not completely filling that space that Carmine and Avalon Bill had, he's taking over some of it. And it sounds like they're going to be bringing in more people, or at least one more other person, to do that kind of thing. So it's like, good. I mean, I don't. I guess for the long in the long run, for the game to be good, you don't need a guy online constantly talking to you about it. Like, why does that matter? But what it does is it keeps excitement going because we all tell the whole world about what's happening and generate buzz. So that helps them with their sales. More people notice the product, not just HeroQuest, but all the other brands that they have going. Outside of their dedicated fan base, and it also builds loyalty. It builds, rapport because it's like we feel like, oh yeah, they listen to us. We're the fans. We should, like if you feel like there's a piece of you in the game, like you somehow help make that happen, you're maybe more inclined to want to buy it. You know,
Right.
your ego
Right.
gets stroked a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's thank you,
my
Rob, for
favorite,
bringing
the
that up.
ego stroking.
Yeah, definitely stroking that ego. Build community, build the brand. Now we can ask for the crossover too. Well, yeah, I don't think we've heard anything more about that. I hope that if somebody does hear something, they let us know. The latest we heard about the fancy fan roll dice was April 1st. It's like uh, April Fool. No, sometime in April. Bohemius says like the return of the boot. Yeah, them putting the boot on the board in first light doesn't change the game at all, but it does. It's like they're winking at the audience, saying like, "Hey, we're paying attention. We're doing something to help you." And it's not like a lot of other franchises where they'll give you a really crappy product, but then they'll like do a tiny bit of fan service to try to like say, but it's okay because we did this little thing. It's like, no, no, no. Like you give us a crappy movie, but it has a couple of like funny jokes in the middle that are saying like, oh yeah, remember this cool thing that you'd rather be watching? Whereas it's like, okay, like with First Light, they give us solid quests and there's a little nod to the old artwork, saying like, oh yeah, the little boot that you found the gem in the toe of. It's kind of a cool thing.
Well, that's kind of nice though.
Yeah.
So
hmm So little hints of good things.
okay.
But the topic that I was really interested in, and it's funny because I forgot all about it. Like I'm not a D&D player. I mean, I've said it a million times. I've got the D&D books for fifth edition. I just haven't played them. Like I need to tag along with my good friends D&D group and lean on them because I don't have the lore memorized. I use the books for just ideas. I just flip through them and go, oh yeah, that sounds kind of cool. I can maybe put that in HeroQuest. But the big discussion, other than the OGL scandal and the Pinkertons and all that crap, was
Mm,
the idea that Chris Cox had a huge like stiff one for digital tabletop to replace, the old analog D&D. It's like these stupid books, this dumb, miniatures. Like, no, we need digital. Like, that's where it's at. That's where the money is. I'm not quoting him directly, but like that's the vibe you get, that like this guy is like trying to cut corners and trying to get people on a subscription based, you know, thing that you got on your phone. So they came up with one D&D. That was the thing. And you see people actually using it now when they're streaming, because it's nice to have a little visual, map and character sheets, and you can roll dice virtually, I think. I've never used it, but a friend of mine is a big D&D player, and he's like, "Oh yeah, of course, one D&D, that's what we use. It works for us." It's like, "Okay." But the latest thing, and it's funny because I didn't even know anything about it until people were basically saying that it was screwed. It's called Sigil or Sigil. I think it's pronounced Sigil, Sigil. And so I'm going to sound like a complete noob, a complete normie, a filthy casual talking about it. But there are several
You
videos.
filthy casual.
Yeah, filthy casual. I know you've played Star Wars D&D, but did you ever play
I
any of the
have.
other, like Pathfinder or Advanced Dungeons and
Besides
Dragons?
that, I may have played Pathfinder a couple times, but
Okay.
I played that, and then I played I played like the classic Cyberpunk game. That's about it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've got Cyberpunk Red, and I tried to play it with my parents, but I needed to study more. I was woefully unprepared to like explain it. So I was like
Yeah,
constantly like
it's
consulting tables and going, what do we do in this situation?
rough to
Yeah,
play.
yeah. But then I realized, oh, you can scale the complexity. Like if you play it just as it is, it's fairly complex and kind of hard for a person who's not used to that type of game to get into. But you can scale it down to something simple, more like HeroQuest. Always comes back to HeroQuest. Bohemia says Sigil is the most important city in the D&D multiverse. Oh, okay. So that's what it references. Well, I think the term sigil means like a symbol or a sign. That's what they call their tabletop simulator. Yes, exactly. So they were developing this virtual 3D, yeah, a tabletop simulator of their own, an official branded one. And the idea was that you could not only just play like what they give you, but you could also build stuff with it. So it was kind of like, you know, trying to relate it to something from my generation, like SimCity. You could just like create, the background, as you're playing. Say, oh, here's the village, here's the dungeon, here's the valley, here's the swamp. Put the little objects, place the
What?
world objects.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Little Shrek. Okay, so we've got these videos. So credit to Dungeons and Dragons. Gee, I wonder who owns that one. So Project Sigil. This is from 6 months ago.
Am I playing this one or are you playing it?
Uh, it's like I talk first or you do this. Is this how this works?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cox wants to sell Fortnite skins. Don't say that too fast, Rob. No, we gave you a hard time because you didn't know that was actually his name. It really is. Yeah. Yeah, he,
Yeah.
he, he definitely did.
He
HeroQuest MMO. Yeah, if you,
wants to sell foreskins. What?
I wasn't gonna say it, but I mean, yeah, that's what I read it as too. Dang.
Hmm.
Rantcast. Okay, I'll play it. I'll play it. I'll hog all the glory for
No,
myself.
oh,
Just interrupt
you're
me
cute.
randomly and say Rantcast in a growly voice, and then you'll have done your duty.
Oh.
So yeah, so that this is
Why are we getting Boulder's Gate?
dang smashed. Okay, yeah. So they're just showing. This is like their, I guess, would you call this a sizzle reel? They're trying to show off what you can create. This makes me think of what was it called? Foundry. Except for the camera angles, but I mean, it was like you could just, yeah, you have your little pieces and move them around. I mean, yeah,
Oh, so you play Boulder's Gate 3? Only not Boulder's Gate 3? Is that
only
what
not,
this
yeah.
is?
Wow, that guy's really well rendered. Oh, it's one of the developers. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's just except that it's static. But doesn't it remind you of Tabletop Simulator? It's just that, Wizards of the Coast made
I
this.
mean, yeah, and also like they are really milking Baldur's Gate 3 in this.
So the style and graphics are copied. Well, it was a really successful game. I mean, everybody was playing it. It's like D&D
Yeah,
is
but there
back,
are
man.
you,
Yeah,
you only have to show it a couple times. I mean, holy shit, though. You were you were really.
I'll skip
They
ahead.
hope they're getting their money's worth.
Well, here's the dastardly wrinkle. Apparently, they laid off 90% of the development team.
For this.
Yep. And I'm like, what the? Why? I mean, and people have done videos about it already, like saying like, what are they thinking? What is this? Does this mean the project is a failure? Like, or did they just like, okay, we'll get all the work out of these guys and then get them out of here? But if they did that, it sort of makes it sound like they're not like they don't care about development because it's like, well, what if they need to patch it or add stuff? It's like I don't care about these guys.
No, they
So
just needed simple work to be done so they could rip like assets, and then
out of
once
Baldur's
it's
Gate 3,
they yeah they just said Baldur's Gate 3 and everybody went whoa,
yeah,
and they're like, okay, y'all, you're fired, get out.
before they knew it, they packaged it and they sold it, and there it is. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
these people are not cheering for that. I can assure you. Well, I think all the people that were afraid that Hasbro was going to switch everything to digital and it was going to replace the books, I think can breathe a sigh of relief because this looks like it's toast. Yeah, just like that character just went up in smoke. Now, people who are looking forward to this are going to be pissed because it's like, okay, this was going to be the answer to all my prayers. I was going to be able to play this. It was going to be so great. I mean, why would you use something like this? Well, because you want to play remotely, right? You got friends in other cities, other countries, whatever.
yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah. You want some fancy
But
graphics.
like
Your
they're
miniatures
really
aren't
fucking
painted.
showing the game around though. Like they're
Yeah,
not just showing their game, they're showing the game.
right. Well, if you wanted to create a 3D dungeon, lots of people have done that. But you got to be like a Dwarven Forge kind of guy. You got to spend like hundreds of hours, creating this stuff out of, polystyrene or foam, or you got to 3D print like just tons of stuff, or you got to buy these really expensive things. I mean, yeah, you can use paper mache and stuff, but a lot of people are intimidated by that. It's like, well, I want all that stuff, but I don't have the talent to make it look cool. So how cool would it be if I could just download something or pay a subscription on a website and just have this virtual dungeon? So I don't know if you can get it. I thought I heard that it was like there was a demo or something you could get, like an early access thing.
Hmm.
Jacer
Oh,
says, "Oh, sorry, I'm missing the comments. You want to read some of these?
on,
I don't want to take them
yeah,
all."
just to reply to Bohemians here. If you've never played a D&D video game, you don't know how much they recycle and repurpose assets. I have
Oh,
not. Most D&D games that I've played have come from uh, just just a book. So um, yeah, I don't play any like the actual like video games, and I think personally, like no offense to anybody else, but like if you're gonna play a D&D game electronically, like once again bringing back Baldur's Gate here, any of the Baldur's Gates are great examples. Uh, KOTOR, a good example, I guess.
oh yeah,
If you
forgot
run
about that.
the dice system, um, but not just Baldur's Gate 3, but like
Go Baldur's Gate
I
2 and
really
Baldur's Gate 1.
and
Yeah.
then going to Rob Champ here, Cox wanted to make money in game purchases and such, and it didn't go that way. It always comes down to making money, though, doesn't it? It's
Oh,
it's
sorry. This is an old video.
trying to
This is for wins
trying to get
epic.org.
these trying to get these crossover things to come too close, and it turns up to be like this ham-fisted mishmash of either garbage or good ideas mixed with like bad company values. Is um, what we're getting here. I think.
Sorry, this is
I
shout
don't
out
know.
to Rivers RPG channel. He's commenting on the irony of Hasbro winning the ethics award. One of the commenters says, Zim Kleins, he says, the same year of the OGL scandal, the firing of 500
Yeah,
plus employees, they sent the Pinkertons to steal a kid's rightly paid box. Great year. Yeah.
that's ethics for you.
Yep. Anyway,
That's the ethics of breaking your fucking skull in.
yeah, that's like saying we're really moral, but our moral system is like the morality of Charles Manson or something. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we got good ethics.
In
You
our
just
system,
behave,
this
or
is
I'm gonna
perfectly fine to stomp people
I'm
into
gonna
the ground.
I'm gonna crack your fucking skull open,
Yep.
and
And
then
about the time
just as you're getting
you can go
about
for
the
it.
time you're getting out of the hospital,
I'm getting out of
I'm getting
jail.
out of jail. Someone's gonna come back and crack your fucking skull open again.
But everybody. Yep. Don't care
Go
about
get your
jail.
shoe shine box.
Oh man, Joe Pesci, the guy. Okay, so
Yeah,
I also wanted to get a little sampling to show you what one D&D can look like. I guess this isn't the only way it looks, but I just grabbed this. This is Code 3 Games, some people playing D&D 5e. So
online.
yeah, so it looks like I'm
Ooh,
not sure if it's that OBS or Zoom or Streamlabs, but I've seen a few streamers doing this where
they all
we'll
look
have the map.
tired.
They've been up for
They
hours.
all look really sleepy, except for the. I'm guessing that's the game master on the far right.
Yeah, yeah, the big guy. He's so much bigger than
God,
me.
I've never seen a more tired group of people. You're on a playtest, man. You all should be excited.
Unless this is like hour 31 or something. So we're stress testing this, guys. Come on.
Like fuck.
Hey, we can't all be movie stars, right?
I mean, no, but damn.
Yeah. Yeah, look
Like
excited.
that guy on the far left's about ready to pass out. He's like holding his hands together. He looks like he's about ready to fall asleep.
On the other
Like he's
hand,
like trying not to yawn.
to
He's
be
hiding his yawns in his hands. That's
well,
what I literally. That's what I do when I
listen,
play.
maybe
Like,
this is
because I
honesty.
unintentionally yawn. So
This is the fact
like
that
I had it in my hand.
one D&D is maybe not that great. Maybe not that exciting.
Well,
I mean, it's supposed to
the
enhance the game, right? Because
yeah.
you don't need a virtual tabletop to play D&D, right? D&D can be played with the theater of the mind, pencil and paper and dice. You don't need anything else. It's nice to have miniatures. It's cool to have a board, and there are D&D board
It
games, but
yeah.
yeah, it's like
And
okay,
that's
start
the great thing is you can't capitalize the imagination.
right. But
And
you
that's why I said that's the great thing about like the D&D universe is the fact that is these guys are looking at a corporation that's saying how can we make more money off of this when you've already have the perfect system. There's not much more you can do physically. I mean, you guys can, but you guys can't do the same thing that people are doing with like video games and other media
yeah,
because literally what you can do at home is people can take a like if they think your shit is bullshit, they can go
which they
pull their
do.
books out, their
Yep.
pen and paper, make their own fucking miniatures,
Hmm.
and tell you to go fuck off. Like they
Right.
literally you made a game where people can do it themselves.
Yeah. You gave them
Like
the
I
tool.
can't code my own video games.
Right.
Like I can't. Well, I mean I could, but like what I'm
You could
saying is
learn
like it's not.
Unity, but yeah, it'd be a lot of work if you've never done it before.
So I don't know. I don't want to do Unity, but like, but yes, that's what I'm saying is like it's not something I could do within the night. Somebody could grab his friends, like this band of sleepy heroes here, and he'd be like, "Let's all go over to my house, make some stovetop,
Yeah.
and
Now we're talking.
we'll gather around the table, and
Have a few laughs.
we'll grab
Roll
the
some dice
book,
around.
we'll watch a talk like actual people should do,
Yeah.
and we'll have some fun. This I don't know what they're doing here, except for like trying not to fall asleep.
Well, at the same time though,
There's some fun happening.
you can have you can have people who are just pretending to like something, there's that. And so I kind of appreciate the honesty. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a smile. There we go. Yeah, come on,
yeah,
guy.
guy's having fun. Maybe
You
he
got
won something. Who knows? I don't know.
our apologies to Code 3 Games, but yeah, anyway.
I mean, no, yeah, no offense to the guy here. It's just it's one of those things where this goes really well for like if because adults usually have pretty busy schedules at times, right?
Mhm.
It'd be hard. I know a lot of people who have talked to me, especially like within my family. I know my aunt sometimes used to do D&D, and she's like, "Well, you should join us." I'm like, I no, there's no way. I can get away from my four children and my job right now and just get on a I don't know a 8 hour campaign a day with you.
See,
Like
you'd be the guy who's like, he's in the other room and he's just like, roll to see if I'm getting drunk. It's like, yeah, you are.
yeah, 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 and so like an online thing where you guys can like hop in or that's the thing I could see people making money from is like
Yeah.
a D&D experience where it's like a server sort of deal
Hmm.
and like it happens I guess throughout the day the game master has to kind of formulate the design for people who are on multiple schedules. I don't know. Like that's kind of trying to find something where you could still all get together and play it. But let's say you have a day where half of you are there, the other half's going to come in late. They could still get a smoother experience. But even then, you can still do that at home.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lot better if people aren't able to make it.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I, I definitely, I get what
RPGs are big on Twitch.
yeah,
Yeah,
what we're hearing in the chat. So Atsumari Kofihara is somebody that we've rated quite a few times, and he plays some of the old D&D video games that we're talking about. So before Baldur's Gate and KOTOR, there were other D&D video games. I mean, when I was a kid, I would get those game magazines, Video Games and Computer Entertainment, Game Pro, Sega Visions. Well, not Sega Visions because they were all
trying to
Sega,
think of
but
um
yeah, there were PC games, right? Because you had other fantasy
yeah.
games like what was it, King's Quest and stuff like that. But I mean, there
Hmm.
was there were official D&D games. Like I'm trying to think what was called. Was it called like Warriors of the Eternal Sun, Pools
Damn,
of
dude.
Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds. Icewind Dale was later, more more recent. But yeah, there were all these D&D based games, and it was like I never played any of them, but it's like the screenshot they would show this awesome like painting. Usually it was some guy with rippling muscles and just an awesome sword, some like undead like horror, and then some like scantily clad bikini girl. So of course gets your attention.
That is
Yeah,
the best the best. That's how they did it
combination.
back in the day.
Yeah,
You know,
everything is the Conan the Barbarian movie poster. Um,
that's right.
yeah, so but then they would show screenshots of the game, and it would just be like a bunch of text and like a tunnel or something, or it'd be like or it would remind you of what's the NES game Shadowgate, where you have the little text thing. It's
Yeah,
like a point and click type. So I don't know like what the games were like. Like were they all like that, or just because I never played them. But I'm sure they had their fans. I'm sure there's people who could tell you. But yeah, it was D&D to me was a cartoon. Like that's the Saturday morning cartoon was what I knew. So I didn't grow up with that, but it has such a legacy. Like just like how Lord of the Rings influences all fantasy, all high fantasy, D&D influences all RPGs. Like it's like the NES of RPGs because some people just it's synonymous with what it is. Fair or not, it is. And of course, we've heard so many controversies nowadays because next to Magic the Gathering, D&D is the biggest brand that Hasbro has. And so whenever they make a change, people freak out. And very often we reference YouTubers on here. There's like 5 or 6 of them I can think of who are constantly like every other video they do is, oh man, I can't believe what Wizards of the Coast is doing now. Like, oh, they screwed up again. Like, and I watched the video and it's like, okay, at first I'm just like, oh, this is just some fanboy complaining, and then by the end of the video they've convinced me that yeah, they're totally right and they're getting screwed, and that sucks. Professor Dungeon Master. He's the you know exactly who I'm talking about. Here's the video. And it's like Deathbringer here, and he he has some pretty well thought out videos. I'm not going to play him here, but just to shout him out, he did one. Let me just show you here real quick. It just got worse, which of course is clickbait. And he did a recent video commenting on the clickbait because people were saying, well, all you ever do is complain about the new D&D. And he's like, well, no, actually, I've done all these other videos where we like play games and he, designs stuff and puts out ideas. But it's like the ones that get the most clicks are the ones where he's complaining about the latest thing that they screwed up in D&D. And it's like,
And he's following that YouTube algorithm,
yeah,
has to, put his hands on his face,
yep,
you
exactly.
know, put the big text out there. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. See, I need
That
to,
thumbnail is just literally everybody has those thumbnails.
yeah,
It's
you get all the
freaking
expressions.
crazy.
Yeah. Him making the point is another one that he uses a lot. But yeah, he's using the system. He's playing by the rules. But yeah, I enjoy his stuff. So yeah, check him out. But he's got a point, which is okay. What's the deal with this sigil thing? What were they? I mean, how much money did they lose on this? How many more people are going to lose their jobs because they didn't know what they were doing? Or maybe they realized we can't milk this for money, as much money as we thought we could.
What's the deal with this sigil thing?
I don't get it.
Oh, I don't get it.
Bohemia says totally useless. Well, it has a use, but the thing is, yeah, like you say, you can already do this for free. And I can get the appeal of someone who's just coming into the game, who's like, oh man, I don't want to get my graph paper out and have to draw all this stuff. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I just had like a map that was already made, a prefab dungeon that I could just throw on the screen. The other thing to keep in mind is though everybody has that. So unless you can create your own, like that's going to get stale and you're going to want to change it. And so then you're still doing work. It's just that you're doing it in a 3D program instead of on paper. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the reason why people use AI instead of just drawing and painting it yourself. It's like you don't have confidence in your own ability, or you just like the way it looks. So Rob Champ's comment there. Okay, so this goes back to the big topic, which is the whole D&D space and Hasbro in general was okay. So we had this board game fad. I'm trying to think like what were the years? Like when my younger brother and my younger sister each they got married, they started their families, and it's like before them and all their friends who were couples, before they all had kids, it was like okay, let's just get together every week and play board games. Like it was this big thing, at least in my area. I think it, but I heard about it happening in other parts of the country. It's like all of a sudden people were just buying board games. You start your new household. It's like okay, we got a bunch of games. It's gonna be like we'll raise our kids how we were raised. Playing these games. It's gonna be great. And then when COVID happened, it's like, okay, a lot of people were like, okay, don't have a lot to do. Let's just play some board games and let's play some virtual board games. That's how I got doing the HeroQuest thing. Before we got on Twitch, I was doing it over Zoom. So they saw all this growth and then it went away and sales kind of plummeted a little bit. And so it's like they're still trying to recapture that magic. And it's a little bit of a problem. Now, what Rob Champ is lighting on, and this is something that Professor Dungeon Master talked about in his videos too, was that pop culture got a big boost or gave a big boost to D&D because you had Critical Role. So it's kind of like a reality show where they're playing like a high budget version of Dungeons and Dragons with like actors who are good looking and they have a nice scripted well written quest and people are like following along and like oh man I'd love to do that and then you realize okay I'm not Matt Mercer, this is really going to be really hard to do, and then that show ended, and then I heard that they were going to come back but they're not even using D&D anymore, they're going to be using Pathfinder. It's like oh crap, so they're going to use their competitor uh, Pathfinder, which is a D&D spinoff. um, the other pop culture thing was Stranger Things. So I watched the first 2 seasons, and I got partway into the third season, and I was like, nah, I'm done with this show. But that had a lot of D&D references, and people saw that and were like, oh, cool. D&D looks like such a fun game, or it reminded them of their childhood playing the game in the 80s, back when people were like scared because they thought it was like satanic, and so it's like, oh, it's this underground thing. And then they changed the game. But anyway, yeah, so that got a boost. So people were curious, they wanted to try it out. But as that show is ending or has ended, and then Critical Role has kind of gone away. It's like, all right, they don't have that boost anymore, so people are kind of forgetting about it. The fad's going away, so they're looking for ways to make more money. So it's like you cut people from your company, you fire the employees who've been there the longest, and then hire new people so you can pay them less. It's just a corporate
Yep.
thing. You switch to digital so that you don't have to use the supply chain and create models and print books and stuff, which costs more. You can fire the dev team and just keep reproducing the stuff. Of course, you still got to have someone maintain it, so I don't get that part. Especially if you fire
You get somebody else to maintain it.
yeah, you
That's
do.
but
But
that's the thing is like it's like it's
yeah,
remember when we had that talk about Star Wars moving on to the next generation?
yeah,
It's the fact that like they do that they recycle that so that like one, it's harder to fight something that you don't like when you have no ground to stand on. Like you have nothing to stand on, and that's all you know.
yeah.
If
That's
you
true.
get somebody fresh faced, one, like you said, you could pay them less.
Hmm.
Two, you can teach them in the ways of something that you're already like the company's grounds they're already standing on. So if you have something that was created from somebody else, it's already gone, you can explain it to them
Yeah,
differently and
Bohemius
bring your
is
company values into it.
Bohemius
So
is agreeing with you. Yep.
I mean, yeah. So and that's what I'm saying is like, and that's how that's I've kind of been on this kick for a couple years because, like I said, that's how I was taught to do business all the way from back in high school when I took classes. And I have fought people on that since day one because I've always believed there is a better way to do business.
Yeah.
It's just not the easiest way to do business.
No. I like
Um,
companies that
so
like try to court my vote. They try to like win me over as opposed to just say, "Oh yeah, we're the only game in town, and once you get something you like, we're just gonna like make you buy it as a subscription and raise the price."
well, it's also the rat race too. So like keep that in mind. Like um, it's about not just eliminating your competitor,
Hmm.
but beating your competitor to the edge, and then not just like at that point um, doing what I was talking about before, probably expanding or moving to a different outlet, whatever the trend is.
Yeah.
In this case, you know, it just depends on the the company and or fad. So with D&D, of course, they don't have a lot. No fads. They don't have a lot to go on.
Wait, you
If
miss. Wait,
something went wrong,
something went very wrong. Yeah. So some of the comments here. So Bohemius is talking about it's like adding gadgets and apps to your phone. You actually don't need them, but you're forced to have them if you want to be accepted in the community and normal social life. I don't know if I agree with that so much, except that I mean I do remember like at Gen Con 2 years ago, like they were showing the D&D movie. It was the anniversary of D&D. Everybody was talking about D&D, and so it was like if you said you're a D&D fan, people assumed that you liked the movie and you liked whatever the latest product was, and that you were just totally on board with everything. Kind of like at a certain point in time, if you said I'm a Star Wars fan with no context, they would assume, oh, so you believe this, that, and the other thing, and you like this thing, and like I can predict everything. It's like
Mhm.
you can't do that anymore. Like you're gonna run
Nope.
into people with completely divergent worldviews who would just shout each
It's
other down.
almost
You,
it's
you,
almost political anymore. It's
like
sickening.
you have to explain what you mean by that. Yeah, and it's like
Like, wait, you're a Star Wars fan?
Oh, you're
Cool.
you're
But
toxic.
what kind of Star Wars fan are you?
Yeah, it's like holding back the
Are we
dagger. Like,
talking?
are you my enemy or are you
Yeah.
my friend? It's like, no, I like a stupid
Mm.
product. Like, who cares?
How do you feel about The Last Jedi?
It was kind of sort of okay, maybe.
Mm.
Exits the chat.
Yeah.
Banned.
Yeah.
Get him. Yeah, but there was definitely oh, you're D&D fan, so you must like Critical Role. Oh yeah, I watch it all the time. It's great. Oh yeah, well, what's the guy's name? His name? Exits the chat.
Uh,
Matt? Correct. Okay. People get too much accustomed to this new way to play the RPG. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think I've hit a threshold. I think this month I will have played more HeroQuest virtually than I've played it like in person, like at the table. It's like, whoa, crap. Does that mean that I've like betrayed my principles and like I don't really play the game or something? Like, no, it's just a different way of playing. But I mean, when I was at Gen Con and we were playing, um, I loved it. It was great. It was so refreshing to not have to like type every time I wanted to roll dice or press a button when I was trying to do something. Like I just do it, and the guy's right there. I could just talk to him. I don't have to go, what does it say in your character sheet again? Oh, wait, who's talking? I couldn't hear you because of your mic. It's like, no, it's just, you just enjoy yourselves. It was a very low pressure kind of experience. Plus it's like, oh, I don't have to be Zargon. I can just be a hero and I'm not using the app. I'm just playing. It's great. And the feel of the dice in your hand and all that stuff. So that experience never goes away. It's not like, oh, that's outdated. I don't want to do it that way. I mean, I
that
I do the virtual games because some of these guys like I mean, I'd like to meet you someday, but probably may not, I'm not going to be able to travel to where you live to hang out.
so Rob says he's like Treebeard. He's on no one's side, but didn't Treebeard eventually pick a side?
That's true. He did. Yeah.
But he says you could be a D&D fan, a second edition, and never see any movie. Change my mind. I will not, because I'm a fan of 3.0
Oh,
and
crap.
still am. So,
So I was reminded recently, remember the 2000 or was it 2001 D&D movie
maybe.
with the guy from Passenger 57 with his purple lips or his blue
Oh
lips?
yeah.
Yeah, so they made two sequels, two direct to video sequels to that.
Oh man.
Yeah. I haven't seen them, but apparently they're out there. So,
So I'm guilty, and I've seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie, new
I
one. I watched it with my kids, and I am
Honor Among
guilty to
Thieves.
say that I found it was kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it too. I was not expecting much. And actually, it was funny because after I watched it, I was like, oh, that was a pretty okay, kind of middle of the road, fantasy movie. It wasn't horrible. Like I was expecting it to
Yeah.
be trash, but it wasn't. It was like it wasn't great, but it wasn't,
Has
horrible.
what's his face from the newer Star Trek films? I keep forgetting his
Yeah.
name.
Uh, I wanted to say Christopher Pike, but no, that's the name of the character.
No, yeah. But no,
Zachary
he played Kirk.
Quinto is why can't I think of his name? He used to be like, yeah, big guy.
But yeah, his career went downhill real quick after
Yeah,
those movies.
it
So,
did.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
he did a fine job. But yeah, it was after I watched it, I talked with my good friend who is a big D&D guy, and he was saying, well, actually, if you watch the movie as like a game session, it gives you kind of a different appreciation for it. And it was like thinking about it, like, oh yeah, because they're kind of like they're characters in the world, but they're kind of like not taking themselves too seriously. They're kind of acting weird, which like in a Marvel movie takes you out of it and annoys you. Whereas if you think about the whole thing as a game, it kind of makes sense. Like they're avatars or something. Which
right.
when I first saw The Force Awakens, like I tried to think of it that way. I tried to think of these are people LARPing in the Star Wars world rather than, They're actual characters, that run into Chewbacca and stuff.
That's a really heavy think or thought, bud.
Yeah, but it's like you could say, yeah, but if you have to impose that on it to enjoy it, that kind of sucks. Like they did a poor job creating the story if you couldn't just be immersed in it. Like even if you didn't know what
Yeah.
D&D was, you just be like, oh yeah, this story is so great. These characters are so awesome. Baco, better than the one with the weigh-ins. Oh yeah, when he gets killed. Oops, spoilers. I mean, it had its
Way to go.
moments, but it was, yeah, it was not good. Definitely not great. Yeah. Well, like so many other things, D&D is kind of what you make of it. I mean, it has its legacy. There's people that pick one particular edition and that's their edition, that's their game. They've created who knows how many hours of gameplay with like stuff that they've just made up out of their own heads or borrowed from other sources. And it's not official, but it's like who cares? People have like years of campaigns and the company can never take that away from them. It just is. And yet, they'll make a new edition and new people will come in for whatever reason and they'll think, "Oh yeah, this is what the game is." Yes, some of them will delve into the lore, into the history and go, "Oh, okay, the game was something else before this." And wonder what that was like. And they'll meet other people that are like, "Oh yeah, you can play that version with me if you want to." Like, "Oh, cool." Same with HeroQuest. If you don't like the way the game is now, you can play it how it was back in the day easily enough. You can. We were just talking about not too long ago how the companion app that they have for HeroQuest, like it's loosely constructed enough that you can kind of play the old versions of the rules. You can play your homebrew rules in it. You just have to kind of like ignore some of the things that the app does. Like if it puts a stone block in your way and you're playing an edition where you can disarm the stone block, you just pass a rock to get through it and just say, "Oh yeah, I disarmed it." You roll your dice on the side. It still kind of works. Now with the D&D thing, I would think something like the sigil, if it really is just like tabletop simulator, I mean, they could limit what assets you have theoretically. I mean, I'm not sure if they let you import like any texture because then it could be like just tabletop simulator where you could just, you could basically pirate games if you wanted to. And yet, you could use any rules. Like all this is just stuff that you would put on the table as a visual aid while you're playing. I mean, it looks like they have a dice roller in there, but um, it could be anything. If you want to have wrestling moves, you've got wrestling moves. If you want to have lasers, you've got lasers. Freaking lasers.
And laser beams attached to your head.
Yeah. Jacer says D&D was a modified chainmail. Yeah, I've read a little bit about the history of it. That there was a game called Chainmail, and that game was, if I remember this correctly, I probably get it wrong, but you basically had war games, right? But it was like, well, what if instead of having a big army of knights, you just like took one of the knights out of that army and you paired him up with another guy that you took out of another army, and like that's an elf or something. And so you would have this group of individual soldiers, and instead of fighting another army, they would just like fight random mobs of monsters. So it's like, okay, and then and you could develop the characters and with like storytelling and stuff. But it was still mostly treasure and fight. That's what you're doing. And then yeah, I think chainmail was yeah, that's what chainmail was if I remember correctly. And then D&D was a modification of that. And that's how we got the game that we had today. I mean, even the dice were not an original creation. Like I always thought, oh, Gary Gygax invented these dice. He didn't. They were actually from those dice had been around since like the ancient Greeks and Egyptians. They used them for divination. Maybe that ties into the satanic conspiracy at some level. But it's like, yeah, people would use it for fortune telling or gambling. Those were the two things they used those dice for. But it's like, oh, but we can use these to generate numbers. War games must have used dice like that at some point because it's convenient rather than having to roll like 50 d6s. You could come up with some other system like, oh, I've got a 20-sided dice, I've got a 50-sided die, I've got whatever, 20-sided, 12, 10, 8. The 4-sided die is weird. But yeah, you had different ways of doing the system. And I want to say the system got more complex. So you had advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then you kind of went backwards at certain points. So supposedly fifth edition is simpler than fourth edition in a lot of ways, and I don't know what sixth edition is going to be like, but supposedly they're trying to make the game more loose, less structured, and some people really don't like that. So there's this idea of it's going to be more storytelling focused, and people have made entire campaigns where you're not even fighting or killing anybody, which I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, to me, that's not necessarily betraying the game. That's just saying our system is so versatile, you can do anything with it. Like it doesn't just have to be Lord of the Rings. Like it can be anything. I mean,
But why
correct.
not Lord of the Rings? That makes the most money, though, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what you kind of come for. It's like if you give me Call of Duty, I'm expecting Call of Duty, not, well, I can play soccer in Call of Duty. It's like, why don't I just play a soccer game? Like, oh, but I could, maybe as a one-off, just kick the ball around. It's like, no, I want to get my gun out and start poning noobs. One shot in them, no scope across the map.
Pumping them full of lead.
Yep. I was driving around town. I just thought of this, and you're waiting in traffic, and sometimes you look at people's like bumpers and stuff to see if they have anything interesting on their car. This guy had the landmine. It says like front facing enemy. He had that like on his bumper,
Oh my god.
and then I realized, oh, his car is painted like army green. So it's like, okay, might be a veteran, or but it was just like, okay, that's funny. So it's like if I get too close, I'm gonna like detonate this mine and get blown up. So clever.
That's
Anyway,
pretty clever.
yeah, yeah. So gotta give him credit. Let's see. Bohemia says I participated in many D&D tournament in Italy 20 years ago. The rules are not important. The acting and interpretation of your role is more important. Oh man. And
But
I
that's pretty in depth.
It's pretty epic. Yeah. I've seen some streamers where they really get in. They like do all the voices, they do the sound effects. I mean, I guess I do some sound effects in my game, but I mean, like yeah, they really get into it. And these are people who are not clearly not trained actors, but they're still like giving it their all. They're like, "Oh, I am the goblin," They're like trying to do the stuff. It's like, "Hey, great. Have fun." It's like at first you snicker a little bit and it's like, "Yeah, yeah, we're having a good time here." Maybe I can give my character some memorable voice. Unless you're doing Macho Man and it kills your throat after 30 seconds. Bohemians,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man, I really lost it there. Bohemia says advanced D&D to me was called advanced only because they thought was the last definitive edition. Oh really? So it wasn't like how you had advanced Hero Quest or advanced Space Crusade where they made it, require more effort to like put the game together and more like there was more complexity. Hmm. Yeah, the only D&D that I played was I think it was the Star Wars Saga Edition D&D, and even then, I mean, we didn't play full campaigns. We just played a couple of sessions, and I thought it was
It's still
fine.
fun as fuck, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to just make up your own stuff, and the guy who was running it was very familiar with the system, so we didn't have to like know anything about the game. It's like, oh, can my character do any, like what can I do here? It'd be like, oh, here you can do this, 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 or how do I do this? Well, here's how you do it. Like, oh, thanks, and then you just go for it,
Indeed.
which is like a lot of games. I mean, the grown-ups I like to play with. I mean, you've got people who are open to learning new games, but a lot of them are just like, yeah, but you got to teach me. Like, like I don't want to put in the effort myself. I want you to like memorize the rules and then tell me how it works. And you're like, okay. Like there always has to be one person that does that. But in these GM focused games, like it's kind of set up that way already. So you put the effort in. I have noticed though with HeroQuest, with the campaign we're playing now, Jungles of Delthrak, like I feel like the designers definitely wanted Zargon not to be bored because they give you a lot of stuff to do, like a lot of special rules that you got to read and like more options for your monsters. And it's kind of cool, but it definitely keeps you on your toes. So it's like your players can't be lazy. Like they've got to know what they're doing because you're like, listen, I'm busy right now. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do here. Bohemia says, so talking about advanced D&D was actually more easy, but with more streamlined content. Rob Champ, DM has a tough job. Zargoning ain't easy. That's right. Yeah, you try murdering heroes
all day.
all day
Coming up
rantcast.
with new effective ways to do it. Keeping
Yeah,
track of all those heroes.
new ways to
Which
motivate
heroes you
them.
gonna murder first?
That's right. Yeah, but I definitely like the idea of these games where they give you, a book of ideas, right? Basically, they give you a pile of assets that you can use. And then after that, it's up to you. You do what you want. But if you just want to play it out of the box and set it aside, that's fine too. But you don't have to be waiting around for them to create the next thing to put in your hand. You can just do your own thing. Okay, so Bohemius, you're gonna have to help me on that. He says, like Jacer said, taco TACH0 was the innovation that make the game easier. What is taco? Tacho?
What's taco?
I don't know. Uh,
Taco.
so I was trying to think of. So Sigil, I think I could be wrong, but I thought it was made with the Unity engine. So I think I made a comment earlier, and maybe I was ignorant because I was thinking like, okay, so Strange Bus, you create a game, right, and then you fire the design team. Oh, you've just screwed yourself over because now the new people have to be trained on the engine and they don't know it and they've got this
Not
code base.
particularly. Not particularly, because if are you talking about game engine, or are you just talking about like if you're making a game?
Yeah,
So not to interrupt you, right? But
good point.
if you're a development company, right, most of your team is educated in making that engine. Not especially if you're a smaller company, you're not like you're not working on different engines. Like say like for example, if I'm making another like Jedi Academy, it's made in Quake,
Yeah.
and let's say I fire people on the game being 90% done, and I grab the B team to finish it up. And I don't know, they were making Outcast DLC or some shit.
Hmm.
Um, that also runs in Quake, so they'll be pretty familiar. They may not be as experienced, but they'll be pretty familiar, and I
Oh,
can pay
okay.
them less.
That makes sense. Okay, so what I was about to say, I
And
guess,
they're a
was
skeleton crew, so there'll be less people to pay less.
yeah, make a mediocre Star Wars show about kids too soon. Um, yeah, I guess yeah. What I was about to say was similar to that, so I'll pretend that I knew what you were talking about. No, if they're using Unity, like Unity is a fairly well known system, maybe not as well known as the Quake engine or Unreal, but yeah, you
I was
you
just saying
you
it in a
could bring
term you
people.
might understand. Sorry.
Oh no, that makes sense. Thank you for dumbing it down for me. But yeah, you could. So you have people that have a basic knowledge that you could easily quickly get back up to speed, rather than having them to learn some arcane system that they have no idea about because only those developers knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, who I keep forgetting his name. I keep having a brain fart. Who's the guy who made Duke Nukem Forever? The guy in charge of
Uh,
what's it called?
3D Realms.
Yeah, the 3D Realms guy.
Oh
I
dang.
keep forgetting his name.
Yeah.
But like
Not
that
Cliff.
would be an
Not Cliffy
example of what you're
B.
probably talking about. But where he would like if you
Cliff.
get one team that was working on the game,
No.
and you'd bring new people in on it. You wouldn't fire anybody, but you bring new people in on it, and then switch the whole freaking game up to a different engine. And like that's the only example I was thinking of like might be close to that. But like
I keep
most
thinking
of
of
the time if you're working on a project, it's in the same game engine.
yeah, it's not development hell, or they keep switching engines. Yeah, I keep thinking of the Unreal guy, and that's not him. Cliff Bleszinski. Oh,
No.
who is this guy? George Broussard.
Yeah, George Broussard.
Yeah, yeah. It's like let's use Quake. No, let's use Quake 2. No, let's use Unreal.
It's gonna look so much better on this game engine, but like
Yeah,
it's also gonna take us an extra 3 fucking years.
and a new game
Great.
engine keeps coming out, so you keep wanting to switch, and you keep redoing the entire game, and you keep starting over with new teams. Yeah. Okay, the other guy was
But
Scott
yeah,
Miller. Scott Miller was also co-founder of 3D Realms, but George Broussard is the guy who kept wanting to switch engines, and they did.
the wacky tobacco.
Okay. So they're explaining to the noob here. Back zero. Jacer says to hit armor class zero. To hit armor class zero. They both said it. Core attack mechanism. Armor class is your defensive rating. That's what I was saying. So armor class zero is the weakest attack to do damage. And Bohemius is saying was a system that eliminated many calculations. No, zero was good. Negative is better. Okay. Strange West, do you know what he's talking about? Like this is a D&D mechanic.
But armor class is 0.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, I thought armor class meant like that's your defense against attacks in the game.
Yeah, I thought it was mostly like your defense, not your attack. But it's been a minute since I played D&D,
I guess I don't know the
so
abbreviations. I just thought it was like, oh, you roll a 20, that's good. You roll a 1, that's bad. And if you roll a 20, you're supposed to roll a second 20 for the critical damage. And if you do the 1, you consult a table. Like I know just some basics, but all I know is 5th edition. I don't know any of the other editions. I don't know any of the popular like fan mods. I don't know what, subclasses are and all that other stuff or bonus actions. I've watched a lot of videos where people complain about it, but I mean, it's like I'm only hearing like half of the conversation, so I don't know necessarily what it all means. Is now with the D20
no,
system. Negative is better.
gotcha.
Yeah. Well, okay. So anyway, those of you who play the game know what these guys are talking about and understand. Okay, but the point is, this was something from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which made the game easier. Jacer says, okay, so it's now with the D20 system. Yeah, because there's like a generic system you can use for any game. Back to the OGL thing. Like you don't have to work for uh, Wizards of the Coast to be able to make a D&D style game. You can just make any game you want that basically uses the same framework, as long as you don't call it Dungeons and Dragons. Version 3, 3.5, 4, 5 all use the bigger numbers, better rules. Okay, so that's maybe what I think of. But yeah, see, I haven't gone and read like those other versions. I think I was in a store and I saw a Pathfinder book and I started flipping through it, but I mean I didn't like start from the beginning and read and go, oh wait, here's the part that's different. Like I could have, but I didn't. But I think there's
Yeah,
definitely
and I'm way out of the game
yeah.
since deleted
But
all that stuff. So
how old were you when you first learned it, do you think? Like were you a teenager already or
so
you
Star
would have
Wars
gone?
D&D was what 99.
I, I'm not sure.
Probably like 8 to 10.
Oh, okay. So
I
pretty
mean,
young.
I didn't really like take it seriously, but I learned some of the fundamentals, and then
Oh, nice.
probably got into it a little bit at 14, on and
Yeah.
off, and then I really started playing the games probably about 10 years ago. like I said, I always kind of played into it a little more as a kid, but like I wasn't like
Mm.
game master or anything. So
Oh, I see.
um,
Well, if you buy it in the store, it says 12 and up, but I mean, any more you can't tell if that's based on complexity or, pointy swords or something. Well, that's usually 14 plus. But yeah, it was like
yeah,
in
okay.
movies, whenever they show somebody playing D&D, they're always like, yeah, 8, 10, 12 years old. And then when
Well,
you
and I never fully understood it either. So like, well, at that age, my
Mhm,
uncle came by the house when it came out, and he had like the expansions to it, the Star
mhm,
Wars stuff. Like, so he had the core rule book, and then he had like the ones for like Jedi, and then aliens and all that stuff.
cool.
And I was just memorized by the book. I was like, man, that looks cool. I was like, wait, you could be characters,
Yeah,
and he was like, get out of here,
whippersnapper.
because like, yeah, I was just like, wanting to get all up in his expensive books.
Yeah,
But
you got to put these white gloves on, son, before you touch it. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and the only times, well, I guess, yeah, it's like I never saw anybody play the game D&D, um, and it's like I was in my late 30s, I think, when I first, and yeah, people are always in their 30s or 40s playing it, and like these are people who had been following the game for years and years and years, but they were always trying to get new people into it. They're like, "Oh yeah, you should, try it out. Oh, we'll explain it. Don't worry." You know, or hey, did you see Critical
mhm.
Role? It's just like that. Like, oh, okay. People are like, ah, I'm just here buying some paint. Don't mind me. I'm just buying some dice. Oh yeah, we'll come by anytime. Like, okay, got it. Like, oh, it's friendly people. He says, okay, Wardecon's here. Yeah, I said I learned to play D&D in 1980. I was almost 9 years old. Yep. Yeah, it was funny. I was hearing about my niece and nephew playing HeroQuest for the first time together, and it was like they're the ages that basically really close to the ages that my brother and I were when we first played. It was like, ah, we're old, but that's HeroQuest. But yeah, so these are all games you could learn when you're younger. And maybe it'd be easier too because you're just ready to absorb everything. You're just like, wow, so cool. As opposed to an impatient adult where you're like, come on, this isn't something I
Come
already know
on,
about. Forget it.
come on, kill me.
Yeah, what are you waiting for?
What are you
Exactly.
waiting for?
Core stats versus the world. This is why I'm a second edition fan. That's Bohemius. Okay, so Bohemius, would you play D&D second edition or Pathfinder, or do you have a preference?
I
Because
think I
I
already know the answer to this question.
the answer is yes. Good old days.
I'm like excited to see his answer now.
Yeah. So you can rip on it. No, just kidding. You and Bohemius in a steel cage.
SummerSlam.
Have we run dry on topics for tonight? I'm just wondering if you were holding something back.
No, I'm ready to talk. I can talk about my stuff.
Yeah,
I
man.
have RoboCop up if you want to switch over.
RoboCop. I'd buy that for a
Speaking of old
dollar.
stuff,
Hey,
does anybody know about the RoboCop game that came out like not too long ago?
Mordecon says second edition has my heart. Bohemia says D&D second edition.
Yeah. See, I knew I was
Oh,
right.
oh man, I just betrayed all that you held good. I just said Pathfinder is a variation of 2. Jacer exposed me for the non-fan I am by saying it's a variation from 3. Owned, to quote Serious Sam. All right, so I should be sharing your screen here because you're gonna
Yeah.
make me drop it. Does this clip need any setup? It's not the one. What? It's like I deliberately screw it up so that you'll host next time. Just kidding. Sorry, I can't find the window.
Hmm. I'm dying over here. Sorry. Excuse me. Excuse my death.
Yeah, quit dying. No. Oh, I'll just create a new one. That's strange. My browser just kind of went away. There we go. Okay. Let's get the Discord back.
Duke's big package.
That's right.
Oh, I saw there for a minute.
What do you have in the 2-week package?
What are you looking up away from the stream there, bud?
What was it? Heroin?
Oh.
No, I swear. Come
But
on.
anyway, there was a an indie game that showed up on the Steam Next Fest a long time ago. Well, probably on one of their first Next Fests.
Before we get into
And
this,
what's up?
when was the last RoboCop game? Wasn't there an official one not too long
There's
ago?
one on like this, no, like on the 64, I think.
Oh dang. I thought there was one based on
I don't know.
that movie, that remake they
Oh,
did.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know if there was one on like the PS3 or PS4. Um,
Okay.
like the one with I can't remember his name, but he was a pretty good actor, and I didn't mind it back in the day. It was just, um, I hadn't really appreciated the old ones around that time, and I was pretty young still, like the early 20s, late teens.
That's pretty neat.
So I took time to actually rewatch the old movies,
Yeah.
and I still didn't mind 2013. It was just kind of the fact that um, I now feel really bad for that actor because he put his heart and soul into that role when that role already took that guy already, you know, somebody already had that role.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate remakes so much, is because the remake is either good and which is rare, and it like eliminates the hard work that the other people did to make it a classic, or um, it's bad and whoever spent time doing the movies just their career is just fucked.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's what the RoboCop remake was kind of a thing, is nobody really fucking wanted that movie.
No.
So, um, but yeah, there was a an indie game that was based off the older RoboCop movies. Takes place, I believe, in between the first and second,
Nice.
and I'm kind of a fan of the older ones.
Yeah.
Um, so uh, I just got through the intro sequence not too long ago while we were talking. And it's probably not gonna be sound, so but it looks really good. It is a like a double A game, but it's one of the most popular around the time, and it showed up on Next Fest. It had a demo. Um, it's $50, and it's pretty decent looking for it's
Whoa.
current time. But
Na na
yeah,
na na na
it,
na 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 na.
and it's an RPG is the big thing.
Oh, it's not an
It's a
FPS.
first-person shooter RPG.
Oh,
No,
it's
it is a
both.
first-person shooter, but
Hey,
it's an RPG. So
are you done with this circle jerk? Oh, what?
so, but it you decide
Is he gonna shoot this guy in the Dickens?
in the dick. No, but what happens is you kind of decide the humanity of Alex Murphy in this one in this game, and then kind of choose the dialogue options, and there's like skills. There's a skill tree, kind of your typical RPG tropes. But it kind of came out of nowhere because when the game released, I was like, oh, it's just like a cop first person shooter.
Yeah.
But it kind of
Is this
came out of left field.
is this a video or are you running the game?
I'm running the game.
Nice. So you got this on Steam then, or
Yep.
uh, looks pretty good. I mean, I like the
Indeed.
style. I mean, yeah, they don't look perfectly lifelike, but it's got kind of a stylistic presentation. That
They put a lot of work into the character more than anybody else, I would say. But like
yeah, you want your
the
RoboCop to look good.
the other characters are pretty close to the film. If there's any characters that are from the film, um, and it's not the original actor's voice, but I believe they did get his likeness. So
So motion cap. I wonder if I've seen this
yeah,
game
so
before. When did this come out?
a year or so ago.
Huh. It's
So
really
like I said,
familiar.
it is an RPG. So you get to roam around in like scenes from the film.
Was there like an early access on this game?
Yeah, it was on the Next Fest.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I saw. Well, anyway,
So
it looks, yeah, it looks like they put a lot of effort into this. And if it's fun,
it's super fun.
yeah.
Kind of like a Deus Ex sort of feel to it.
Well, Deus Ex is a great game. Great game to
Yeah,
mess around in too.
because you can grab people, and you could throw them into things, or you can grab like vending machines and crap. Because he's
So you can just keep throwing the guy through
you
window
know
after window.
yeah, man and machine. But um, it all kind of also kind of brings us to our next topic here, which is
Hmm.
PC hardware.
Oh man,
You know, which is getting pretty hefty.
there's like a little
You
crack
know,
in your monitor there.
oh, there's a crack in my monitor.
Yeah,
Oh no,
in RoboCop's visor.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to take a look.
Yeah, it's your screen protection plan. Cover that.
My screen protection? No, nope.
So Bohemia says, I want a HeroQuest Gazetteer. I'd like a HeroQuest coffee table book. He says, Jacer, do you like more Warhammer Old World background and lore or Dungeons and Dragons?
But
Oh, here's a question for you.
what
So this is an
what's
RPG.
up?
Is there a
Yeah,
pencil and paper RPG of RoboCop, like officially?
I don't think so.
What am I thinking of? I thought there was maybe there was a Terminator one. I'm trying to think. There's so many RPGs out there that are like lost and forgotten. Like the Star Wars D6 one, I think was based on the Ghostbusters RPG, is what I heard.
There was a Ghostbusters RPG.
Yeah, there was. But yeah, they just dusted that system off and made it into the Star Wars, like the West End Games one, before Wizards of the Coast took it over and made it a D20 game based on D&D system. And then
Wow,
I can't remember which one it was, but supposedly one of the Star Wars RPGs, maybe it was the D6 one, became like a generic space fantasy one. So it's like you can still play it, but it's not it doesn't have the Star Wars license attached. I mean, you can still get the old books.
yeah, I don't think there was a RoboCop RPG.
Uh, well, maybe there will be
Might
after
have been
this
like
game.
a might have been like a cyberpunk RPG.
Grenades.
Uh, yep,
It's like they
just your
pranked.
typical '80s prank.
Hey Murphy, can you take a leak in your RoboCop costume?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah. It can be like Duke
I'm gonna try to
Nukem and
get to.
piss out your eyes.
Oh, yeah, yummy.
Wonder how that's going. That Duke Nukem Forever
I want to download the
return to
latest
prop.
update because I heard it's going pretty well.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'm way more excited about that than I ever was about the official game. So this is
But
all
yeah, so
big cutscene.
yes, so because we won't be able to describe a lot of this to anybody listening, just listening. This brings me to our next point. We have um PC hardware, with it getting increasingly demanding or more expensive, we are kind of in the realm of how people are deciding whether or not they want to stick with PC or leave from PC. I was kind of making that decision myself, because I don't know if this is going to get better. AMD just released their new lineup of cards, and it looked like to be honest, it looked like this was their time to be more competitive, with Nvidia possibly wanting to pursue the, excuse me, the AI, like the AI realm, or going into maybe the realm of, uh, like not supercomputing, but more robotics. They want to pursue things more than just, um, just video games. They're kind of leaving the people that made them. So whatever. It's disappointing, but you can tell their support for the consumer right now is really lacking. Um, and their efforts are kind of, you know, going elsewhere. Rob Champ in macho voice. PC hardware didn't need it then, don't need it now.
Oh yeah, PC hardware
Yeah.
didn't need it then, don't need it now. Yeah.
But yeah, that's another big thing, is the fact that it is becoming increasingly hard to get certain parts, and you get the really stupid or the really ignorant. And no offense to the people out there, but that's what it is when you get people who get so concerned with FOMO that they are absorbed in buying hardware for 20 to 30% over MSRP,
Dang,
which is fucking insane.
it is.
I just want to let you know there is no excuse in the world somebody can give me right now, for buying a graphics card that was originally stated, because there are records. If you go to, and like I said, Gamers Nexus is a great source of information, because they pulled their sources from, Micro Center and any other retail's public record, which you can look up, and they provide that. They also go to the quarterly earnings and meetings of most of these companies. They've been to the factories, the silicon factories, overseas. But the thing I'm getting to is the when the AMD cards were announced, at least the 9070s, they were MSRP, like I think they were $600-700. And then after the scalpers got a hold of them, and we had limited inventory, even though there were more than the Nvidia cards, you had MSRP rise from not AMD's point, but like the third party or the retailer raised it $200, and then stated that was the price. Places in the UK, Australia have noticed that, just graphics cards in general, when they go in stock, they will go out of stock, and this is for both. Mostly right now, AMD cards, they will be 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes in stock. They will go out of stock,
Dang,
and then they will appear $100 to $2 more right back 5 minutes later.
that's
Um, so what right now people are they're waiting to see how high they can make them climb before people either stop buying them, or seeing like just if they could just keep the price hikes going. So um, and that's another thing Jacer is mentioning. You buy new, because my 40 series is matching up to things like the 5060, 5070 series cards in performance, and right now it's almost not worth it to upgrade. But people are upgrading, and Nvidia dropped 32-bit support for physics, because they're dropping physics support, so you can't play games like Mirror's Edge with those cards. Like anything from 2010 below, that card's gonna fucking take a huge shit if it plays any of those games. You'll need to switch your physics support to the CPU, which means that your CPU is going to be handling the load for any old school tech that NVIDIA decided to be proprietary. Like right now, NVIDIA is doing RTX. AMD is now picking that up, but like NVIDIA leads the way for certain technologies. physics was their technology back in the day that helped materials. Mirror's Edge is a good example because if you played Mirror's Edge on PC, um, and you had an AMD card back in the day, you could definitely tell the difference. Pieces would fly off stuff.
Dang.
The wind would blow the material around.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't have an NVIDIA card, you didn't get any of that. The world was a lot different. So same with Mafia, like the Mafia 2. When cars blew up, pieces of the car fell off as opposed to just blowing up. You had debris. It was just a lot more like real time effects.
Ah. Yeah.
So they're dropping support of that for the 50 series. And because there's not a lot of 64-bit physics games, most of that is 32-bit, and so when they didn't let anybody know about this, they quietly dropped it. So as soon as you buy a 50 series, not only are you buying a card that one draws an absurd amount of power from a 12-volt power cable, and it's cheap, might catch fire. You are also
Catch fire.
missing, yeah, those 12-volt power cables adapters that they come with, because they your power supply needs those in order to power the video card. They've been known to melt. Uh, they've been having problems with those. You also have issues with um, missing ROPS, which is something that helps distribute the load on the card, I believe. So you're getting a card that's expected to have performance at a certain grade, and if it's missing ROPS, it's going to have less performance than it's stated to be. And you can download, I think it's CPU-Z, and it'll tell you. They've actually, CPU-Z is a program that'll tell you what your card is, what the hardware is supposed to be, stuff like that. They've updated it because NVIDIA's had such a problem with the 50 series cards and that issue that they'll just tell you if your card's defective, and they'll actually let you know so that you
Wow.
can send your card over via the warranty.
Well,
Um,
at least they're honoring that.
yeah. Well, we'll see. But and then between that and the fact that the cards are already fucking crazy expensive. If you're going with NVIDIA, you're paying thousands of dollars more than what the card was rated MSRP. I think the 5080 was like what, 9 to 1,000, I think it was. I can't even remember, but like they were going for $3,000 at one
Wow.
point.
Wow.
So, and AMD cards are $200 to $400 more last time I checked. You nothing is MSRP right now.
So not a good time to buy.
No. And I know people are like, well, then I'll just get a laptop or something like that. I was like, the thing is right now, it's not a good time to do anything. If you're gonna, like, I bought my hardware because like motherboards, CPUs are getting rough right now because, and like we can blame tariffs all we want, but I think some people in our chat have mentioned it, but other countries are getting tariffed twice as hard as we are. So right now we're just kind of get used to that, I guess. That's not as much of a problem as it's a minor inconvenience. But what we need to look at is, um, what are you playing as a video there? What is that guy doing to his PC? What the fuck?
So it's one thing to blow the air out of your power supply, but apparently there was a spark in that those compressed air cans. They say not to spray it into like sources of flame because they can catch fire. So yeah, this guy
Yeah,
blew up his computer on
yeah, but it looked
camera.
like he was like, it's like when you tip it like upside down. It's like he was like spraying the chemical on there. That's crazy.
Yeah, caters clips. So a man's plan to clean his computer has gone up in flames, literally. Nicole Gerard, 19, from Liverpool, UK, received a video from her boyfriend. I can't pronounce these names. 19, who was trying to show how satisfying it was to clean the dust out of his computer. However, the harmless activity nearly caused a house fire when a naked flame combusted with compressed air. He forgot a nearby
Wow.
candle was still alight when he started to clean, and when we went to clean the computer fan, the candle caught wind of the dust particles and instantly combusted towards his hand. Well, I never would have guessed. So let that to
I
be a
like
lesson
I
too.
like all the fucking Star Wars shit he's got on his computer.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's more of a hindrance than anything.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
I uh I think that as far as it goes, um, buying hardware right now, you're gonna be buying it not only like with tariffs, I mean, whatever, but they're gonna start probably using shortages as a thing too. Um,
Any excuse to charge you more.
but with the scalping, the um, and all the like kind of like doubt, everything's gonna be pretty much expensive. But that's why I just got them. I started with the motherboard, the CPU, and the RAM. And then I went to a case. I got my liquid cooler, and that's pretty much where I'm going with right now. An SSD probably won't be too bad, but yeah, I don't think that if you've got spare GPUs or if you got still your old GPU, waiting an extra year just playing the games you have is fine. Um, but there's a lot of devs out there. Like this game uses AI upscaling. However, it is not doing a great like there's certain games that don't do a great job with it. Um, and like that's really what Nvidia is trying to sell right now is just AI. And I don't know exactly if that's a hindrance for video games because some video games kind of like overuse it or they rely on DLSS and certain frameworks to be um, to just like help with the resolution of scaling or um, to kind of like help improve the performance of the game for them, and it can make the game look really bad. So I would say right now waiting the maybe a year or so, see what the market looks like. Um, Other than that, I don't know. I'm I was literally considering just moving to standard computers for a moment, and then going to like console. I considered the cost of that for like the longest time because it's not about like not having to keep up with the competition. It's the fact that there's only so much competitiveness before you look stupid.
Yeah.
Um, because even if I made a lot of money or an absurd amount of money, I don't want to be just burning cash to keep up with uh, the fact that they're just going to keep rising prices.
Yeah.
That's like dangling the carrot over your head.
I
Like, well, are you going to compete with us or not? Like, are you going to you don't want to miss out?
I just rather play the
Well,
games that I want to
yeah,
play, and however I can do that, like this idea that I'm gonna have a I can see how intoxicating that idea could be. If money was no object, you could just be like, yeah, I've got the greatest computer ever, and it can just run anything, and it's gonna be great. But it's like until you can actually run games, it's useless. It's just a money sink.
made with AI. No, man, that was Jensen Huang just eating a GPU.
Yeah,
He lives
fake
for that, man.
news, fake news. Fact check, true. Yeah,
Yeah, and his keynotes lately have been a fucking disaster. Like, they've just been so weird. I can't remember what they labeled their AI robots recently. I can't remember. It was like a prototype, but he like brought it out and he was talking to it, and he was like, "I need you to come over here," and the thing like would not come over there. It was like afraid to walk towards him, and it was really creepy. It was like really creepy.
like this is saying
Um,
something.
Well, yeah. So,
Like, come here, I will
um,
beat you again. I mean, and like, whoa, crap.
and somebody mentioned the fact that like we're making these robots look cute to distract us from like our dystopian future of how we're gonna be like replaced and kind of just left for complacency. I was
Yeah,
like, that kind of makes sense.
we, all those years of sci-fi warning us, and we didn't listen.
Oh no, I bet they understand what the concept is because they use it. A lot of news networks are using it when they reference Jensen. It's the fact that they just don't. Even if they did like understand it fully, it would be the fact that they probably don't care. It's not their job that's going to get replaced or them that's going to have to worry.
Oh
You know,
man,
it's the
news
common man that
new,
when they get let
newscasters,
go.
newscasters. You're gonna have like CGI people like telling you the news.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Learn to
you
code.
know,
Learn to swim.
I I'm more worried about the fallout of like the fact that we're trying like it's going to be really hard trying to replace everything with this is probably still far out, but like trying to replace everything with robotics is wacky enough, but like imagine how like emotionless that will be. Or you won't get a proper human response all the time. I mean, even with bad customer service nowadays, you still get a human on the other line, you know. May not be the response you want, but you may still get something. And um, with AI is unpredictable.
Yeah.
So
Well, I figure
it's very
like
unpredictable.
it is, but I feel like at some point we may get to the point where it's like you and I won't have a conversation anymore. Like as like you're a business and I'm a customer, it'd just be like my AI will contact your AI and they'll just work out some deal. And I'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like
It's legally binding.
most of the programs or the or like those AI networks aren't even like trained enough to hold proper like
Yeah,
they still have to have a baseline before they can do that.
yeah.
So
They're not
like if you have a
self-sufficient.
conversation with something, it would reply to you based on that response. But if you tried to continue the conversation, most of those AIs reply to you based off a new thread. They don't remember
Hmm.
the
They don't
last thing that they talked to you about.
they don't
You can go
really
back and be
learn.
like, "Hey, remember that conversation?" And they'll be like, they'll just talk to you about something completely different.
Yeah.
Or they'll say yes or no, but like it's not based on the fact that they remembered the conversation. It's based on your response. So I and that's what I say is like that's what they're trying to do with NVIDIA is they're trying to make these um, the robotics and the AI robotics. They're trying to give them um, code and they're trying to make them run routines that simulate everyday like routines and emotions and
Trying to fool us.
stuff like that. And it's weird.
Very weird. Yep.
Would you come back as RoboCop? Like if that's how they saved you, would you take it? Like old school RoboCop?
Where he's just what, a head, a torso.
Mm. I don't know, man. If that was it, I'd probably be already robotic, so I probably wouldn't care.
Well, and part of his brain is robotic too, isn't it? So
Uh huh.
if you were sad, you could just like program in like better stuff so you'd feel like awesome or something.
The
I don't.
whole point of that is him trying to like. The point is that no matter how robotic you are, as long as you still have your parts of humanity, that's what shines out.
That part of you is
But
still
like,
still real, still you.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because
I
if
mean, I don't know if I'd want to take that though.
my arm is cut off, I'm still human. My other arm's cut off, I'm still human. My legs are cut off, I'm still human. Yeah, half my brain is gone, still human. So
Yep.
you still have a consciousness. I mean, yeah, you. It's like your personality is different, but you're still a being in the world. You can still do things.
I didn't save any hostages. That's bad.
We got gameplay. Well, the other thing is, I mean, when I was a little kid, like I would see sci-fi and be like, "Oh, be so cool to be a cyborg," not really realizing that the technology is not there yet. Like a robot arm is weaker than a natural arm, and it doesn't have the sensations. So yeah, it's like better than having no arm. I mean, at least you have something that you can use as a tool in your life to do certain tasks, but you'd rather have the real thing if you had a choice. So, but what if the technology was so advanced that not only was it just as good, but it was like better? Of course, what would better be? I mean, a robot arm that was exactly like flesh, and except it was stronger. Like you wouldn't think of it as a robot arm. You just like when I think of a robot arm, I think of like metal and gears and wires and like it's like a piece of technology. But it's like the replicants in Blade Runner. It's like okay, at a certain point, they're just they're just biological creatures that are just like people. So it's like at that point, what is the difference? Is it a philosophical difference? Is it a genetic difference? But yeah, RoboCop is definitely a bunch of metal. It's like okay, so he can like smash things and he can like shoot stuff. So that's his job. He's a cop. He wants to be like a super strong cop. He's there. He can use that to complete his mission. But would the rest of his life be really weird and awkward? Yeah, it would. He has to eat baby food and he's got that robotic voice. It's a sad story. We'll become the robots. Well, like it says in the song, we are the robots. Do, 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 do. So we got some more RoboCop action for us.
Yep, I do.
Excellent.
I do. I just got done setting those skill points up too. So he said he gave you skill points based on certain actions and things. So like there's deduction and I believe empathy, which allows you to understand people better. Stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. So you're basically developing. Well, I guess like you said, it's an RPG. So your character is having an arc. You're developing as you play.
Yeah, and it also gives you bonuses. Like you have combat, vitality, stuff like that that you can develop, and it gives you like bonuses for developing farther into it. But yeah,
And who developed this game?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
That's a smaller company.
Yeah. Were his lips that big in the original? Just a stylistic
I'm
choice
pretty
to
sure.
emphasize his luscious
I mean, it
lips.
looks pretty close.
Of course, it could be just the way his helmet is framed. It's just like, yeah, his he has to act with his mouth even more than Batman does because you don't get the eyes. Does he make the big like servo motor sound effects
Yes,
as
he
you
does.
walk in?
He thumps, and you kind of like thump as you walk. So
I always
you
like
definitely make a
the
thumping sound.
I like the holster that comes out of his leg when he pulls the gun out. The first RoboCop game that I ever played was the arcade game, and at the start you were just punching people, and then after you beat people up for a while, then your gun comes out, and it's like, oh yeah, now it's on.
See, my first exposure was to this was RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that was. I'm trying to think. I think that was the really gory one, wasn't it? Because it was like
I
there
think
was
so.
there was RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3, and then yeah, RoboCop versus Terminator. And these were like side scrollers, except occasionally you'd have like a bonus level, which would be like you're shooting at targets in first person or something like that.
Yeah, there was. It was very hard. It was a very hard game.
Yeah. Remember there was a
Mm,
I think it was a port of one of them was on the NES, and it was really frustrating, as many NES games were for me, not owning a console.
I just remember getting to like the second boss and dying all the time and be like, you know what, I'm out.
Oh,
Give up.
in the NES game,
No, I had it on Sega.
Sega. Oh, RoboCop versus Terminator. Yeah,
Because like, what are you like? Have a Nintendo or something? Come on,
yeah. Still haven't bought a Sega CD. Wrong
jeez. What are
answer,
you waiting
man.
for Nintendo to do
Wrong answer, man.
it?
Yeah, yeah. James Rolfe did a good job parodying those commercials. I really wanted a Sega
What?
CD. I
What
I
are you, an
saved up for it,
asshole?
and then I saved up for one, and I never got one. I'm trying to think what I got instead,
Hmm.
but yeah. And looking
See, here's a
back,
good.
all those FMV games were not what they were cracked up to be. I mean, I thought
Here's a
that
good
was a good
example
feature.
here.
Yeah,
Is it says I had upheld the law. You get dialogue choices, so you can pick and choose what he says,
protect the public
and those
trust,
dialogue
uphold
choices
the
affect the
law,
game.
protect the innocent.
That's right.
I'm reminded of the KOTOR. It's like, oh, blow up old Detroit. Sounds like a good plan. No, don't do it. I must protect the little people. So you could make RoboCop into like a force for good or for evil.
Kind of. You can make him have more human responses and break his prime directives, I think.
So he frees himself. He becomes more the man he was meant to be instead of a cold calculating machine.
Indeed. But yeah, as far as it goes, I mean the GPU news is kind of what I had.
Yeah.
That and
Hair looks pretty good. I mean, I could buy that as
back
a
to
real haircut. Yeah. You need to get better, man. You need to stop being so sick.
I know.
Of course, being a family man, I suppose it's pretty hard to avoid that sort of thing. Too many complaints. I'll
All the
give you
complaints.
I'll give you complaints. Yeah. He goes on a
But yeah, I
rampage.
mean that's pretty much what I got. I didn't have too much today except for like I
Yeah.
mean I think the GPU thing is going to go on for quite a long time.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't really have an alternative other than like,
Play those
be
games.
a smart shopper.
Yeah.
Don't buy out of FOMO, please. Because one, you could get scammed. Two, you're just teaching those people, especially the retailers, that they could charge whatever the fuck they want,
Yep.
and you'll buy it anyway.
Vote with your wallet.
Hmm.
Always.
I mean, it's that important. Yes, this isn't like something where you're like, well, I'm just gonna keep buying it because that's what I do. No, don't do that this time. This is I urge people not to do that because like not just because of the prices, but the fact that like you are literally teaching them that we can upscale like prices almost 50, 60%, and you'll buy it anyway. And then like people will forget what prices used to be like for GPUs, and they'll start using the excuse, well, they're more powerful now, they cost more money to make, blah blah blah, and it'll become so convoluted that you won't know the truth from the lie. So
So what's the
I,
alternative? Just stick with what you've got. Buy
I mean,
consoles.
get out
Buy
of
older games.
the PC gaming industry and start moving towards a console or
Yeah.
pre-build. Or I mean, you don't have to have the
Ah,
best of the best.
pre-build.
Everybody always thinks that. Like I
Mhm.
do that because like I future proof myself, right?
Mhm.
I don't have the money to upgrade every year or two. Like if you
No.
have a spare $200 to $300 every 2 years, you can get like a I don't know the the 60 series the 60 set card, So like the 5060 or the 5070 are the mid to they're like the mid tier cards. The ones that are meant to play the games um, at the higher levels, but they you play them at like 1080p or maybe 2K, and they'll last. They'll give you good performance as long as the rest of your PC is good. You know, they don't have to at least from what I know, they're not meant to handle the load from your processor or stuff like that. They can, but like I said, I don't upgrade my CPU. I got other things that I use my money for. You know, I don't have that. I don't do this uh, every year or two. So my CPU is running on 5 years old now, and even though it still runs pretty well, there are certain games that could possibly bottleneck you here in the next year or two, and the GPU will take the load for that. So, and that's what I'm saying is like, as you upgrade, keep that stuff in mind.
Or they could make
Oh, you
games
gotta
that
keep
don't
your.
require all that extra power.
I mean, or that too, and the fact that you gotta keep in mind your power supply becomes a factor here too. People buy the latest and greatest stuff, and they have the shittiest power supply. Power supply catches fire, it burns out, or it breaks because it can't handle the load, or it's cheap. And
Yep.
we're no longer allowed. For some reason, they stopped stamping those with the safety stamps, or they stopped. You know, there's no longer a law for that anymore. I guess I don't know. Like
Weird.
I uh, I felt like the fact that we shouldn't be selling boxes, electrical boxes that would set on fire or explode to your consumers.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a big
But
scandal whenever that happens, and it's like, what? What are we? Why are we accepting this? Why is this normal?
but I
No.
feel like all this shit is happening and more people are wanting to get into PC gaming. I was like, man, this couldn't have been a worse time.
Yeah.
You did if you wanted to get into PC gaming 10 years ago, it would have been a great time. Nothing was complicated back then either. Like I think the only difference between now and then is stuff was a little less modular. So you had to screw shit in more, but besides that, everything was pretty much the same. Nothing super like the internal stuff has changed. Different analogies for stuff because the technology changes all the time. But as far as building the PC itself goes, I've been doing this since like building my own PC since 1998.
Yeah.
Like it's
Nice.
like I'll tell you the difference then. There was a massive difference then to now. And there was a difference in 2005 even when they were starting to bring in like SATA and all that other stuff. But like it's no different. Now they're making it easy. You can manage your cables in the back of your PC. You can
Hmm.
Everything's supposed to look nice and neat and clean. I mean, in 2010, your wires were fucking everywhere. You left everything out.
I
You
remember
cable
having
manage
a
yourself, bro.
Yeah, I remember having a really messy tower, and I mean, my roommate helped me put it together. So I mean, I hardly had to do anything, but it's just like, yeah, totally different.
But like that's what I'm saying is like kids have it a lot fucking easier now. Like
Hmm.
you just loop shit through the back and like they've got like holders and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, I've swapped out a couple of parts on this thing, but yeah, it's nowhere near as
I
state of
feel
the art as what you've got. And like you say, you don't have the latest and greatest, and maybe you wouldn't want it. You wouldn't want your house to burn down.
I have a
Not champ.
Radeon RX 580. I'm running it until it dies. I would be careful. I don't know AMD's graphics card models that much, but is that seems like that card's pretty dated. Because I think last year was the 9800 XT
But if it runs
was the
what he
latest
wants to
one.
play, what's wrong with that? Like, is it
I
going to
mean, I'm
blow
not
up?
complaining. I'm just saying you know, and I don't know what he plays, so
Yeah. Of course, there's two schools of thought on that. One is I know I can't afford the latest thing, so you know what? I'll just be satisfied with what I can run. Like I'll play the
yeah.
best
But
there. Or I could be like, oh man, I'm missing out on all this stuff.
do you see how confusing that is, Rob? Because I believe last year's model was also a 9 series, right? Or was it the? Hold on, I gotta look this shit up because I just remember they're lining things up similar so that it matches kind of with nvidia standard. That's why I was disappointed.
Well, I remember when
Uh,
I think I had a Radeon. It was an ATI. That was how long ago that was. I don't even know. But yeah, what I got now is the GeForce RTX 3060, and yeah, it was mid when I got it, and I don't know if it's fallen off the scale or if it's considered low end now.
Damn, bro. Um,
But I mean, I don't run that much stuff that would need it, and I'm fine.
oh, it was the 7000 series was last year, if I remember right.
He says, I'm not sure. I just
So,
read about the newest one, and it's sold out in 10 minutes, and everyone is mad. Jaster says, as long as you don't hook it to the internet, everything old still works.
so yeah, they have two models right now for the 9000 series. They have the 9070. Okay, so get this. Last year, the Radeon RX, because I think RX is supposed to be their premium model. Um, they started with they had the 7600 running off the Navi 33, all the way down to 7900 XTX, which was probably a more powerful version of the 7900 XT. So they started at the release date price was for the 7900 was $899. Not bad for the time, and I believe it dropped down after that after a couple months. Because no offense, not everybody buys AMD GPUs. Um, and the performance on these cards was drastically lower than I believe the 40 series, because that's what they were competing with was NVIDIA's 40 series GPUs. So if you go to their 9000 series, which is the stuff this year, they have two right now for their Radeon 9000 series with RDNA 4. They have a 9070 and a 9070 XT, similar to the 5070 Ti, which I believe is what NVIDIA is doing for that. Yeah, they are doing the same thing with like scalpers and stuff. Um, they start at, yes, 550 and 599. Great prices. Absolutely great prices. Um, however, everybody's selling them for $900 or more. So,
Dang. Can almost get our whole
and
our own ship
some
for that
retailers
much.
are selling them for more than that. So, and that's what I'm saying is like right now it's crazy what they're selling them for. So, but if you compete with that, was it the 9070? Let's do Radeon. Oh, here, I'll just put this up here. Radeon. I don't even know which model. Would this be the 5070 or the? Yeah, they're both their high end, um, both their high end models. So if you want to combine the two or put against the two, your performance is going to be drastic. I don't think the 9070 XT has been released yet for benchmarking, or they haven't been able to benchmark it yet because it's not in supply. Oopsie, whoopsie doodle. There haven't been a lot of user benchmarks. But if you take a look, um, the Nvidia card is drastically.
I'm just seeing RoboCop. Are you sharing something? Or are you just reading?
Oh yeah, it's okay. It's because it's um the Nvidia is outshining the Radeon right now, almost at
Wow.
100% in performance.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying is the fact that you'd still get, even with that, you'd still get a uh pretty good power and play with the 9070 or the 9070 XT, but I wouldn't pay any more than what AMD would be willing to announce it for. I'd probably pay no more than $700. And that's what I'm saying is because the performance cost between the two is drastically different. At that point, it's like matching up. You'd probably be matching up like a, I
Switch
don't know,
to
a 5070 or something. Yeah, it's similar to a 5070 because the 5070s are like 17% better than the 9070 XT. And that's what I'm saying is like you're based on benchmarks alone. So I don't particularly know what what we'd be looking at for that. But they're both the same price, around the same price. A 5070 was supposed to be marked down as like $550. So, but I would agree with Rob Champ on this. Is if I had to choose between them, between a 5070 or a 9070, I would
get a Switch.
um
No,
I guess Switch.
that,
No,
that wasn't
I'd
what he
probably just go
was
with
changing.
AMD at this point because I don't want anything to do with Nvidia anymore.
Dang.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and it would support everything that I'd want to play in the past. I wouldn't want to get a 50 series card because they're getting rid of all their crap. So I might as well just go to AMD because I won't have physics anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Is another thing is Nvidia is no longer making 40 series cards. They stopped making them knowing there was a shortage of these cards, and uh, so nobody has access to GPUs. So it makes the old ones expensive, makes the new ones expensive, and they're not idiots. They know what they're doing. So, and that's why I kind of like, you only have to fuck me once on that in order for me to tell you guys to go fuck yourselves. Like, if everybody else wants to be a fool and pay $3,000 for a video card, go ahead. But I feel bad. One, I feel bad for you, and I feel bad for the future because we're literally just teaching people how to be stupid, like stupid and gullible because you can wait and then they'll drop the price down and then you can have your video card. But you don't want to wait.
Do you think though that
So
a lot of people are doing this, or is this just kind of like people
yeah,
who back
because
Kickstarters? So it's not
they're
just a
selling
small.
out.
Okay.
And it's
But
also the scalpers too. Like the scalpers are buying them like crazy.
but
They're going through a rigmarole, which is still business, regardless of whether or not the major retailers are, or like people like Nvidia, they're still getting business from it. So even though they want
but
to
I
fight the scalpers,
I
they're
want
still
to.
getting business from them.
Yeah, it's like the company's still getting paid. I mean, they've got tons of angry customers, but yeah, the scalpers, I mean, they paid for it too, so they're getting sales and they're driving up demand in a way. It's just that the scalpers when they make a sale, okay, well that money is not going to the company. So they're not getting, yeah, the $10,000 or whatever you paid because you were that desperate. Well, let me ask you this. Is it comparable though to when like a new Nintendo console comes out and you get it selling out quickly and you get scalpers and you get complaints and all that stuff? This is what PC gaming is? It's become like console gaming in that sense? Or is it just certain companies that are doing this?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, like if I want to be a PC gamer and I buy a graphics card, am I just like is the only way to win just not to play? Like, is that what we're saying here?
Or stick with what you have. Find a different outlet. I mean, if you get a console, at least it's prepackaged.
Don't
The
be an early
company knows
adopter.
they're losing. Yes, the
Yeah.
company knows they're losing money. And that's what I'm saying is like when you buy an electron like during like in the electronic world,
Hmm.
like be smart when you buy. Don't
Yeah.
just buy as soon as they're announced so you can show off your goodies to your friends. Like
Yeah.
the dopamine hit is not worth it anymore.
The show off factor, the keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, in my family, we were never the early adopters, and it kind of annoyed me, but it was just like it was the stovetop principle. You get yourself invited over, you try it out at your friend's house, see what the fuss is all about. You kind of calm down, and you realize, hey, it's going to be okay. And when it goes on sale, you saved up all your lawnmower money. Now you can get it, and then the next thing comes along, and it's not cool anymore. So you have to like it for what it is, as opposed to yeah, what you can feel like part of the in crowd.
Here, let me put that up. So,
Oh yeah,
and like I said, I know
chill.
nobody truly kind of cares, but this is what I'm talking about for people that are interested.
Okay.
This is why I didn't personally go with AMD like originally. Don't look at the prices right now because the prices, even for the 40 series, are really fucking off right now.
This doesn't have your
They're not too. They're not
shipping
2 grand. 2 grand.
info, does it?
No, it shouldn't.
Just
It's the
checking.
benchmark site.
Okay, just checking.
Um, but these both released at the same time, around the same time. This is their best card from last gen, and this is the 4090, which is the best card from last gen. You're still AMD still superseding them almost what 50%.
People can read
And I
that.
don't care about the market share or how popular it is, but it still makes the difference. So, and that's that's what I'm saying is, um, if you're
Oh,
going with the brand, you also want to look at like what what it does, right? Reflection handling, and like I said, AMD right now is just now coming into handling things like RTX and handling their upscaling a lot better. And that's what I'm saying. It's not for me. It's not about being a diehard like brandy. Like I don't just stick with a brand because I like the brand for years. I take a look at which card can provide me the best performance, the best shelf life, and which has loyalty to me, not me giving loyalty to the brand.
yeah,
Because to me, at the end of the day, the company could probably give a flying fuck whether or not I'm buying their card. Somebody else will buy the card in my
yeah,
in my stead.
yeah. You as an individual consumer,
Um, so to me, it's are they going to be able to serve me?
right?
And that's that sounds pretty greedy, but at the end of the day, I'm the one spending a lot of fucking money on that. So if I'm looking at the 9090, which is this was pretty much to answer Jacer's thing. If I wait till the 9090, we will see. But this is what I've told many times, right? I own what a 4080 right now. That's my card. That's the best AMD has to offer, and we're still getting better performance. So if I went to AMD right now, bro, I'm I'm downgrading.
Ah,
I'm losing physics. I'm losing RTX. I'm losing things, and that's what I'm saying is what would I have? Well, why would I want to lose things if I'm going up to the next generation? I'd be willing to lose things because I don't have to deal with the company's shitty practices anymore. And the 50 series is not a good card. It came with a massive amount of problems. It's defective as hell. It's not good. and just because it benchmarks okay doesn't mean that that means anything. The 40 and 30 series cards were great, and that's what I'm saying is like AMD does great in the CPU world. They have done wonderful um, with uh, the rest of their hardware. They're literally outperforming Intel like crazy. This was their. I think this is their opportunity. So if they have a um, what was it? I'll lose my train of thought here. I thought this was just their opportunity. And what I'm getting at, Rob, is I want them to be able to take a shot. This is their time to get competitive because Nvidia needs somebody to be competitive with them, so they can look and go, oh shit, we're losing the graphics card business before they look at it and they're already off to somewhere else. They're making money in another department so much that they say we don't need it anymore. And I think that's probably what they're trying to do is they're trying to wait it out.
So while they're waiting it out, yeah, maybe get something else, or yeah, be smart, wait it out yourself.
I mean, ray tracing Jacer has been a thing since 2018. And like I said, AMD has just now gotten that started
Oh man, I
in the
remember
last 2 years.
liquid cooling. Yeah, liquid cooling. Yeah.
And now we're liquid cooling cards as a regular thing. That used to be a special thing,
Yeah.
but now they're coming liquid cooled because of how hot they're getting and all that stuff. So like that's another big thing is
It'll cook
we're
your
just
steaks for you.
keeping that in mind.
Mhm.
Yeah, component wars. It's also insane. And then like the AMD, the people who are buying those cards, the third parties that are buying those cards to sell them are making ridiculous ones. I mean, they're good. There was one I can't remember what they're called, but they make a card that has like an anime lady on the front. I guess it performs well, but it's its selling point was it's supposed to smell has a fragrance on it, like an ocean fragrance on it. My computer is closed.
Can't smell it.
Why would I want to have ocean fragrance on my graphics card?
I'll just get an air freshener. How about that? That's cost like what, $1?
So,
Spray some Febreze.
but yeah, like things like that. So, all I'm saying to people is right now, just saw that today. Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, just be careful. Buyer beware, right?
Yep.
So, um, just buyer beware.
Buyer beware. However you say it. Caveat emptor. 3 fans. Ocean breeze.
Yeah. So it's got a whole bunch of these like sticks in them, like in the card on the edges of the case. They're inside, so I'm guessing when the fan cycles, it blows that aroma out, and then your case's negative air pressure blows that aroma out.
So
So when you're
like
like around your case, it'll smell like ocean breeze, but
the flames
whatever
from
that's supposed to smell like.
the flames from your graphics card lights the cigar and smokes it for you.
Yep.
Blows the smoke in your face.
But I think that's all I've got on my topics tonight.
Oh well, I'm just
So,
about ready to pass out here. So I think
oh, look at you.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate you coming by and giving it all you got, and I appreciate all of our viewers too. Rantcast.
That's
Yep.
right. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll come back next week, try to do some more research, figure out what's happening. Hopefully, there's some news we can report on. But I think we had a pretty good discussion here. I have to get some of that audience participation. I know the Tuesday time slot is hard for a lot of people, like doing the call-in show. Maybe if we had our weekend show, we could do that again. But for now. I don't think that works for your schedule, does it? We can always talk
A
about it.
weekend?
Yeah.
We might be able to move to a Saturday. It might actually be better.
Of course, then I've got my stream that day too. Of course,
Yeah,
I could.
that's what I'm thinking of is
Yeah.
would you be able to do that?
Yeah. I'd have to switch one of them. Yeah, we'll see.
So
I mean, at a certain point, I'm just thinking like I'll be finishing up the HeroQuest packs that I'm working on before Gen Con, like late July. So it'll be like, okay, but yeah, would we do a permanent thing or just, I don't know. We'll talk about it. End cast. Instead of warm silicone and plastic smell, you get a day at the beach. Yeah, could be. Maybe that's what they were thinking of. Well, and Rob mentioned earlier, I mean, there's people who just like to build hardware, like in and of itself as a hobby. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, building
I
PCs.
got a suggestion for him though.
What's that?
Take yours apart and rebuild it.
There you go. Just don't do what the guy in the video did and blow up your house.
That's right.
Not a good idea. That stuff's flammable, believe it or not. All right. Well, that's what we got for the rant cast. We'll just get the music here to play us out. And thank you for creating this using suno.com. And of course, we got to do our little recap post plug things. So I'm Kurgan. You can check me out on twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. That's twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans on Twitch. And then on YouTube, it's XSC3, home of HeroQuest fans. And you can check out my co-host, Josh, also known as The Strange Bus, on twitch.tv/The Strange Bus, and also on YouTube, The Strange Bus. And both of us on the Rantcast podcast. After a day or two, it goes up on Spotify.com. So the Rantcast podcast. And you can also find the Rantcast podcast archive on YouTube as well, our past episodes. And there's some stuff you might be seeing. I don't know if you want to get into the clips. Did you want to talk about that or save that for another time?
Oh, like my clip reel?
Yeah, you got a highlight reel for the Strange Bus.
Oh yeah, I do. I have a highlight reel. You should check it out. It's
Nice,
pretty funny.
nice. Well, have you shared it yet on your channel, or is it coming?
It should be coming. It should be on the wheel or on the way. So,
Nice. So
um,
so all those
if
clips
you
people have made over the years of your channel, you get to see like the moments that you'll
yep,
cherish. Nice. I was looking at mine because yeah, we've been migrating stuff over because they're deleting a whole bunch of saved stuff off of Twitch in April, and my clips are nowhere near as awesome as yours. Of course, you've streamed a lot, so I'm really looking forward to that premiering. Strange Bus needs to jump in to play on a Saturday, says Jacer. Well, you'd be most welcome.
I
Well,
will definitely try.
yeah, get the Strangest Bus, get the Barbarian out there. All right, let's cue the music and we'll go to the flames and see if there's anybody we can raid. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, guys.
Cast.